Good morning. Are you guys able to see me now? Just let me know if you guys are able to see me. Yes, it's working now. I had to switch to my phone. I'm unable to see you guys, but you guys can see me, so that's good enough. Let me try to see if I can at least go on. You guys can hear me good also? Okay. All right, perfect. So good morning, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we got it right now. Let's see who's here. Who's here? This is day 29 of 52 days of favor. So let's see who we have here this morning. Good morning, Prophetess. Good morning, Pastor Kabira. I see Lima London. Good morning. Good morning, D'Angela. Good morning, Erica. Dr. Ford. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Bonnie. Good morning, Robin. KB. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, we have Brina. Good morning, Brina. It's day 29. Can you guys hashtag day 29? Did I miss anybody? Just want to make sure I got everybody. Yes. So yes, hashtag for me day 29. We're going to get right into it. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties, but we got it together working now. So good morning, everyone. Again, this is day 29 of 52 days of favor. I'm just waiting to see you guys hashtag for me day 29. I see you, Erica. Yes, day 29. Good morning, Shamaria. Day 29. Make sure you tag, share, invite, send in your messenger. Yes, prophetess. Day 29. I am a magnet of divine favor. Today we're going to be talking about steps to living and victory. Steps to living and victory. Have any of you guys ever overcame something? Let me know if you have overcame anything or overcome anything in your life. Just type yes if you have. I'm sure we all have. If we're waking up today, we all have overcome something. Let me know. Have you guys overcome anything? Yes. Good morning, Damon. Yes, the steps to living and victory. That's what we're going to be talking about on day 29. But before we get into it, I just want you guys to let me know if you guys have ever been victorious. And we're going to break down definitions and all of that good stuff. You know how we always do. I just want to make sure that I'm not the only one who has been victorious in life. All right. So Erica says yes. Bonnie says yes. Brina Taylor says yes. Robin says yes. D'Angela says yes. Kedra, yes. Okay, so we're all been victorious over something. Damon says yes. Prophetess says, I have been victorious in life with some losses, but I get back up. Yes. And we're going to talk about losses because sometimes we think something is a loss, but it's actually a win. Some losses, I get it, can feel and be losses, but a lot of times losses are actually wins. We just don't know it in that moment. Sometimes we don't find out some weeks, months, years later, or sometimes we never really know that it's actually a win, but that is the case. So I'll get into it. We'll be talking again about steps to living and victory. We'll specifically go over 4 specific steps throughout the hour as the book shared. But some definitions of victory. We have victory, an act of defeating an enemy or opponent in a battle, game, or other competition. So I'll read that one again. I have 2 definitions for you guys, but for that one, is an act of defeating an enemy or opponent in a battle, game, or other competition. Another definition of victory is an achievement of mastery or success in a struggle or endeavor against odds or difficulties. So, how many of us have beat some odds? Let me know if you've beat some odds. Most of us are some type of statistic. Some people, when they hear statistic, they automatically go to the negative. But in life, usually you fall into some type of statistic, whether you made it out of a situation, a neighborhood, a demographic. For most of us, if not all of us, we've beat some type of odds. So how many of you guys have beaten odds? Erica says she has. I think we all have some type of odd. Prophetess says, I have beat the odds in various areas in life. Yes. Robin says she has. What are some odds you guys have beat? I want to get in your business a little bit. I'm sorry. Bonnie Walker says she has. Good morning, Aisha. You have also? Yes, I beat the odds. What are some odds that you guys have beat? I graduated college, which wasn't necessarily expected of me. And I did that due to some generational things. It wasn't expected that I would go to school. Damon says he made it out the projects. Yes, a lot of people are content with the projects. Not saying that it's a good thing or a bad thing, but some people decide to make it out. Some people decide to stay. So Damon says he made it out the projects. Good morning, Anook. If I'm saying your name incorrectly, I apologize, but I think that is Anook from India. What are some odds you guys have beat? I'm being a little nosy this morning. We got to wake us up a little bit. So let me know what are some odds you guys have beat. Aisha says, got my kids out of the hood and became a homeowner. Yes, that is a big deal. You know what, Prophetess? I am done. You beat up your baby father, okay? What are the odds? Some people can't beat up their baby father. Prophetess beat the odds. She beat up her baby father. All right? She was victorious in that fight. Go ahead, Prophetess. Barbara Boyer says she made it to retirement. I wish I could retire right now, Barbara. I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to lie. Robin says she beat suicide. She took a lot of pills and drank a lot of liquor on top of it, knowing I was going to die. But God, He kept me. Yes. So you beat suicide. Some people don't. So we're glad to still have you here, Robin. We're glad that you're still with us. So now that we all have shared that we've all been victorious, okay, Kedra, before I go on, let me read what you're saying. Yes, I have beaten many odds. Making out of a small town, graduating college, being successful in a white male dominated career. Okay, she's in IT and successful after divorce. D'Angela says living worldly, and Erica says she stopped being a 304. Okay, Erica. Prophetess says I beat the odds of being the first in my family to achieve homeownership, educational success, and in ministry. Okay, so we all have had victories, whether we deem them small, medium, large. We all have had some type of victory. So again, let me read the definition. Two definitions. Victory: an act of defeating an enemy or opponent in a battle, game, or other competition. Also, achievement of mastery or success in a struggle or endeavor against odds or difficulties. So before we get into it, can you guys tell me, what does victory mean to you? What are some synonyms that you may have for the word victory? And I have some here, but I just want to see what you guys come up with and what victory is to you. You have to make it personal. So what is victory? We talked about some things you have been victorious in, but what does it mean to you? What did that victory look like? What did it feel? What did it feel like? What was the victory to you? Let me know what you guys have. Victory to me is void of defeat. Yes, prophetess says void of defeat. Who else we have? I want to see if you guys have some of the words that I came up with. See if anybody has any of those. Robin says a winner. That's one of mine, a win. So we have void of defeat, a winner, breaking curses. Okay. Overcomer. Yes, I have that too. Let me check that off. Overcome, win, Conquer, I have that one. I have two more. I just want to see if anybody says the other two. So I'll repeat what we have said already. We said void of defeat, a winner, breaking curses, a win, a overcomer, a conqueror. I have two more. Okay, we have conqueror again. Let's see. Before we move on, I just want to see if anybody else will come up with the other two. Robin says, victory to me is pushing past the odds that stacked against you. Yes. D'Angela says, victory is withstanding. So another word for victory, somebody did say win, but I also have triumph. A triumph. Oh, prophetess, we said it at the same time. You said to be triumphant. And Robin, that was the last one that I have, success. So I have to overcome, to be a success, to conquer, a triumph, and a win. And again, sometimes those losses can be wins. We may not realize it at that time, but sometimes those losses, or what feels like a loss, can be a win. So let's go into the 4 steps that will help you successfully walk in the favor of God. So first that we have here in the book is to make up your mind. To make up your mind. Damon Straker says for me, victory for me is getting closer to God. Yes, that is a very big victory. Prophetess says a favorable result. That is a good one. The first step, we have 4. The first step that will help you successfully walk in the favor of God is make up your mind. Can somebody type in the chat, please? Make up your mind. Make up your mind. You have to make up your mind. It sounds simple, but when we break it down, we'll see how sometimes that could hinder us not being able to make up our minds, or can get us into some trouble, or kind of like prolong the process. So type in for me, guys. Make up your mind. You ever dealt with somebody who doesn't really know how to pick a side, doesn't know how to make a choice? I myself used to be indecisive over small things. It was ironic because I can make a decision, tough decisions, hard decisions, I can make those with my eyes closed. But simple decisions like, do I want to pick the red shoe or the black shoe? That would be so difficult for me. So you guys, we have to make up our minds. So in other words, I like the phrase of making up your mind. Pick a side and stay there. Can you guys type that for me? When you're making up your mind, you have to pick a side and stay there. Yes, D'Angela, make up your mind. Yes. I'm glad you guys are helping me out in this chat. So yes, pick a side and stay there. I want to see a few more people. We're going to talk about indecision, Dr. Ford. Yes, indecisive. She says wishy-washy. So we have to, in life, pick a side and stay there. Now, we do understand, of course, there's caveats to that. So if there comes a time, and you do have to change a way you saw things, if you got further information or a new experience, there can come a time where we may have to recalibrate or regroup. So be it. But in order to even get there, we have to make up our minds. Pick a side and stay there. So how many of you guys can admit to maybe in the past or currently struggling with making decisions, making a choice, making up your mind, picking a side? How many of you have ever in a situation or just in life in general have struggled with making a decision? Some decisions are very tough. Like, a lot of people like being the boss. A lot of people like being the leader. But with leadership and being the boss, being in charge, comes with difficult decision making. So let me know. Have you guys ever struggled with picking a side, making up your mind? Yes. Erica says yes. Bonnie says yes. I used to be, like I said earlier, very, very indecisive with small decisions. Like I said, something simple. If I want to paint, do I want this color? Do I want that color? But tough decisions, for some reason, I was always able to make them. So what is the definition of someone who is indecisive? Someone who is indecisive is someone who finds it difficult to make decision. Someone who finds it difficult to make a choice. Prophetess says, Yes, some decisions are hard and some can be difficult to make, and sometimes it can be needed. Bonnie, you say you there now? Yes, I'm also there too. Robin says me. D'Angela says I have. Anybody else? Either struggle in the past or currently indecisive? I'll read that definition again. Someone who is indecisive is someone who finds it difficult to make decisions, someone who finds it difficult to make a choice. In the last couple of years, I've learned to just make a choice because I realize indecision only causes further delay in whatever the outcome is. So, me learning how to make a choice has been such a relief in my life. And not every choice has been the best, but I was able to make a choice and move along. Not making a choice just delays the process. It doesn't change the process, it doesn't necessarily make it better, it doesn't necessarily make it worse. It just delays whatever the outcome would be. I read somewhere, and of course, this is not across the board, but I read somewhere sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's better to say, oh, well, rather than saying, what if? I want that to just resonate with you guys. If anybody has trouble taking chances, making decisions, let's see, Prophetess, you said, sometimes we are making decisions about a career, leaving a relationship, and we can be loyal to the wrong decision and we avoid the outcome. Yes, that's rooted in fear. Someone said to me one time, you either make the decisions based on love or fear. And that stuck with me. But like I said, I read, and I want you guys to type it for me in the chat. Sometimes it's better to say, oh, well, than to say, what if? What does that mean to you guys when I say that? Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's better to say, oh, well, than to say, what if? D'Angela says, good morning, Evelyn. D'Angela says, absolutely, we must make a choice. Not making a choice is actually making a choice. That is true. That is true. I think they call that ambivalence, if I'm not making a sense, when making a mistake. When you're like on the fence, you're not picking a side. Bonnie Walker says, a step out on faith. Yes, Shamaria, thank you. Sometimes it is better to say, oh, well, than to say, what if? Prophetess says, so many in life are saying, what if I only did this or did that? Yes, Prophetess. So when you look back, let's say you're whatever, it could be you're 20, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50, you're 60, you're 70, you're 80, and you look back on your life. Sometimes a person would rather say, or it's better to say, oh, well, rather than what if. Do any of you guys have what ifs? Robin says, sometimes it's better to take a chance rather than regretting what could have been. Yes. Dr. Ford says, sometimes you won't live with regret. You made a decision. Yeah, you have to pick a side and you have to stay there. So you make that decision and you stand on it. You know, now everybody's saying stand on business and stand 10 toes down. Yes, you have to make a decision because sometimes it's better to say, oh, well, then what if? You have to make up your mind. So before you obtain peace in any situation, you have to find peace in the decision and not necessarily the outcome. We're going to get there, but the fact that you made the decision, you did the best that you have with what you had in that moment, and you made a decision. And like I said earlier, most of the time we want to pick a side and stay there, but if you have to recalibrate and regroup, if decision maybe wasn't the best, okay, we understand that, but you have to find peace in the fact that you made a decision, you made the choice. We can choose our choice, but we can't necessarily choose our consequence. So again, before you obtain peace in a situation, you have to find peace in your decision. Or before you obtain power in a situation, you have to find power in making the decision. Prophetess says, yes, what if I never entered this situation? We could be further than stuck in regret, but it was needed to be done. We must be okay with that decision or the favorable result. Yes, and sometimes, Prophetess, we even must be okay with the unfavorable result. That's what makes us human. What part is good, Prophetess? I'm going to say it again. What part you saying that's good? Helen says we also have the liberty to try the spirit to see if it is the will of God. Yes, and we're going to get into that, the will of God. That's coming up. So yes, before you obtain peace in a situation, you have to obtain peace in your decision, not the result of your decision. I just want to make sure we're not confusing that. We're going to get into the results, repercussions, consequences, aftermath, whatever comes from the decision. But you have to find peace, and this is the decision that I have made. There's power and peace in decision making. All right. So that is number one. Make up your mind. Pick a side and stay there. So to relate it a little bit spiritually, you have to make up your mind and make the choice to completely put God in control, right? So with doing this, you can be better at accepting what comes in your life and what goes. A lot of times we want to hold on to things that are not good. And it doesn't necessarily mean, sometimes, actually, let me fix that. Sometimes things are not necessarily not good. So sometimes they're not necessarily bad. It's just some things can be even better than what you already possess, right? So with putting complete control in God, letting him work, letting him move, letting him be the driver and you be the passenger. With doing this, you can be better at accepting your decisions. You can be better at accepting what comes and what goes in your life. Is anybody here glad some things are no longer in their life? Some things, some people, maybe a job, a location, whatever the case may be. At one time, you know, you wanted it in your life. You just thought that was the end all be all. But now that it's gone, you alive, right? You're still living, right? Bonnie says, sometimes I go at it if I am struggling with making that decision and no peace, I decide to be still. Okay, so Bonnie, I'll give you that one. You're waiting. So you put it in God's hands and you're waiting. Okay. D'Angela says we must find peace in our decisions. Yes. Yes. So again, with doing this, so this, when I say this, putting God in control, with putting God in control, you can be better at accepting what is and what's not. You can be good at accepting what comes and what goes, and also what stays, right? Not because it doesn't hurt, not because it's easy, but because you simply put trust in God that he knows best and will lead you to and will provide you after that what is best for you. Does that make sense? So again, not because it doesn't hurt, not because it's easy, but because you simply trust God knows best and he will lead you to and or provide what is best for you. You can't go wrong there. So again, to find peace with the outcome, you have to start with the process, but more importantly, the choice. So it's like a timeline we have here. We have the choice and then the process, right? So if it turns out to be a good choice, great. If not, trust that God will be with you and guide you through to rectify whatever it is or lead you to something better, right? So, excuse me, through troubles, through confusion, through pain, whatever the case may be, we have to persevere, right? So what's perseverance? Let me give you a definition that I found for perseverance. So perseverance is a continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition characterized by steadfastness and a refusal to give up. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. Of course, I'm going to read it again. Just want to make sure. Are you guys still with me there? You guys are still with me? Just want to make sure. So perseverance is the continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition characterized by steadfastness and a refusal to give up. Okay, just want to make sure y'all still with me. Prophetess says perseverance is continued effort. Yes, endurance. So it's not about not getting beat up. It's no matter what. It's just you're still pushing through. So it's just picture it if it's bad weather, your life is just crazy. Whatever the case may be, you're persevering. You have an end goal and you're enduring whatever comes with it to get to your end result. Yes, Prophet, it's like running a marathon. One thing I realized in life, a lot of people want to sprint. instead of running a marathon. I know for me in life, that's my motto now that I'm changing, making new behaviors. I no longer want to sprint. I'm running a marathon. You ever see people in a marathon? They practice. They really prepare for years and years in advance. And of course, there's a winner. Somebody goes first. But what I love about watching a marathon, it's like if it's, let's say, 50,000 people in a marathon, the person that finished first is just as excited as the person that finished last. Have you guys ever noticed that? Let me know if you guys noticed that. You could have number 540, number 10,001, no matter what. And not in a sprint, because a sprint, you're designed to be the fastest person. The difference between a sprint and a marathon, you do have some people that want to be the fastest in a marathon, but a lot of people's goal who run marathons is just to finish. That's it. They just want to finish. You have people, what I think is amazing, that'll sign up to run a marathon and they know they're going to lose. Isn't that interesting? Not necessarily lose, because let me rephrase that. They're not that they're going to lose, because it's not a loss. They just won't finish first. Just want to rephrase that. So let me repeat that. Once usually, if you watch like the Olympics with a sprint, it's usually short, it's fast, and a lot of people, it's the first to get to the finish line with a sprint. But a marathon, someone who finished first, you'll see them just as excited and happy as somebody who finished last. So if you're talking about 25,000 people running a marathon, they are just as excited being number 25,000 as they are being number one. And why is that? Because they're not focused on finishing first. They're just focused on finishing too. Yes, D'Angelo says the purpose is just to finish. Also, mountain climbers. You have mountain climbers. If you ever look up Mount Everest, there's actually people that have passed away trying to climb Mount Everest. So they're not really focused on timing. It's just, I have to finish. That's marathon, not marathon, people that climb mountains. Also, cave divers. Have you ever seen cave divers? It's a little boring, but if you ever have some free time, it's very interesting. It's not about speed, it's about exploring the cave. So it's places in a cave that that anybody before them has not seen. So their goal is not to explore it the fastest, it's just to explore all that is there to it. Dr. Ford says, I'm not signing up. My body is not prepared. Yes, I'm with you, Dr. Ford. I am not signing up at all. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Well, let's never say never, but I don't see myself running a marathon. But the good thing about a marathon is, I love that Keidra just said it. In a marathon, you have to pace yourself. It's very different from training than a sprint. Yeah, with a sprint, there's no pacing yourself. You want to get there to the finish line right away, right? So Prophetess said, running a marathon, you have to train and prepare for the conditions ahead. Have you ever seen New York City's marathon? You have people cheering you on along the way, helping you, encouraging you. Yes, they have water stations, so people assisting you, right? That's help. You have people who are just cheering you on, clapping. If you feel like you want to quit, you got people like, yeah, you can do it, keep going. Yeah, that would be me. I would rather stay on the sideline than to be running that marathon. I'm with Dr. Ford. I can't do it. I can't do it. But they train and they prepare. Prepare is the great word. We said train, but I want to say prepare. Prepare is a good word. They prepare for the marathon, and they prepare not to finish first, but to just finish, right? So a lot of times in life, we're running a sprint. Everybody wants to do things. They want fast money. You want a fast relationship. You want this, you want that. But sometimes finishing first isn't always the best thing. Sometimes you are not meant to finish first, but I believe God wants us all to finish on not our timing, his timing. And his timing, of course, is going to come first, but I'm willing to bet it's made specifically for us as individuals. So when I say our timing, that's what I mean by that, right? So perseverance. Perseverance is the continued effort to do or achieve something, Not just to do or achieve something, but to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition characterized by steadfastness and a refusal to give up, right? So I had an older coworker when I was about 21. I worked in a room full of women. They were all older than me, right? And one of the coworkers, she became like a mentor to me. And I would go through things. I told her like everything. If I ever get famous, she's the one who can tell all my secrets. Alicia's here too. She got a couple secrets too. But the older coworker who became a mentor, she used to always say, whenever I would tell her I would go through something, if I, whatever it be, friendship, relationship, stress, whatever I was going through, she used to be so excited for me. Not that I was going through something, but she used to always say, Octavia, this is preparation. You know, I'm glad that you're going through this. This is developing you and building strength and character. That is the one of the most frustrating things I used to hear. I appreciate it and I understand it now. But how many of you, when you're going through something, and somebody says, "Oh, this is character development," it's like you don't want to hear that at the time. Anybody else? Not yet, not yet, not yet. Robin, we're gonna get there. Sorry, I'm still on number one. We're gonna get to number two. I got you. So let me just read what some of you guys are saying. Shamaria says the race is not for the swift, but for those who endure to the end. Yes, that's a marathon. Prophetess says perseverance / long suffering is one of the fruit of the spirit. Prophetess said, yes, we don't want to hear that at the time. Yes, I don't want to hear that. This is character development. It's preparing you for what's next. It's preparing you for what's better. Yeah, well, it doesn't feel like it in the moment. In the moment, I feel terrible. The moment I feel low. The moment I feel just like trash sometimes, right? Some things you can go through, it just makes you feel very, very low. But now that I'm older and I've overcome some things, I've experienced some things, and I'm sure I have much more to experience, I think it's true. A lot of the things that were meant to knock me down have actually made me stronger. So I respect that now. Perseverance, continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition characterized by steadfastness and a refusal to give up. Bonnie said, so you used to do pity parties, not anymore? Yes, I'm not a fan of a pity party. I'm not a fan of people who are victims. I don't think you should stay in a victimhood. Now, you know, everybody has their own traumas, but to me, it's more important to be a survivor than a victim, right? Survival over victimhood for me. D'Angela says, it's not that I don't want to hear it, but I just want to understand. Okay, D'Angela, me, I didn't want to hear it when she used to say it to me. She actually just recently said it to me a couple weeks ago, but now I'm able to receive it now that I'm older. So you guys ever realize, or you guys ever see people who work out, like real muscular people? Do you guys know how muscles come about? People get really muscular because when they work out, when they lift weights, when they do certain workouts, the muscles are actually damaged. And when they're repaired, they get stronger. I was blown away when I found that out. So you're actually doing damage to your muscles, right? And as they are repaired, they become bigger and stronger. So we're not talking about people who use the easy way and take steroids. We're talking about people who put in the work. Just hear what I'm saying. People who put in the work and work out. So if you want to be stronger, sometimes you have to be damaged and broken apart to be rebuilt stronger. Did that resonate with any of you guys? Yes. Some of you guys didn't know that. That's how all of those buff people, that's how they get. Yes, that is true, Dr. Ford. They also, on rest days, that does help you. Certain things you eat helps you to repair the muscles. But that's what it is. The muscles are damaged and they are regrown, and they grow back bigger and stronger. That's how muscles are formed. That's how they get big. Not formed, but that's how they get bigger. When you see somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger, those arms, and that's how he got those arms. Again, outside of people using steroids. So we're talking about, we're not using steroids. We're not going the easy route. We're not using the cheat code. So if we use spirituality in this, so with God, sometimes in situations he has us in, We sometimes feel like we're being broken down, we're being ripped apart, we're being stretched, we're being pulled, right? After you got beat up a little bit, you feel sore, right? But once you get through the resting, like Dr. Ford said, and now you're in the repair mode, now you, the muscles, are now even stronger and bigger, right? Dr. Ford, yes, eating and exercising does not feel good. No, exercising does not feel good until you kind of get the swing of things. But I don't know if you're there yet, Dr. Ford, but anybody who has worked out consistently, what's so interesting about working out is at first that pain feels terrible, like the soreness, but after a while you kind of crave it. It's interesting. You kind of crave that soreness because you kind of feel like you did something, right? So you're eating, so I guess you're eating well. That doesn't always feel fun, but sometimes, we have to do what's best for us, even when it doesn't taste good, even when it doesn't feel good, right? So that was my muscular people example. So to achieve victory, I want to move along. To achieve victory, we must make up our minds, persevere through the process, and in our trust and in our faith in God. So let me say that again. To achieve victory, we must make up our minds, persevere through the process, and in our trust and faith in God. We all want to win, right? But remember, sometimes a loss is a win. Erica Crawford says, years ago when I was in a movie, I had to get in the gym and work out for a fight scene. I hated it at first, but the more I worked out, I was able to accomplish the goal in the movie. Go ahead. You was in a movie? Go ahead, Erica. What movie was that? You were an actress? Yes, Dr. Ford. When you go there, you crave it. And when you don't go, you feel terrible. See? But you got to push through the pain first to get through the other side, right? So people sometimes find it hard to stand on or make decisions because they don't know who they are, right? A lot of people, unfortunately, wear a mask. Have you ever worn a mask, or have you ever met somebody who was wearing a mask? It is not necessarily somebody who has malicious intent. Sometimes people are ashamed of who they are, so they wear a mask. Not everybody wearing a mask intends to do bad. Now, sometimes because you do not know who you are, you can. Prophet says, I hate masks like in COVID. Oh, good morning, April. Thank you for being here with us. Do you know anybody who has either worn a mask, or will you admit to sometimes have wearing a mask? I want a mask. I wear a mask on a job interview. I'd be like, yes, I'm gonna be on time. I'm the greatest worker ever. I'll be lying. I'm a good worker, but I'm just saying, like, you get to a job and you don't be that person. Prophetess said, I'm not wearing a mask. Good stuff. Have you ever, Prophetess, worn a mask? Erica says, second chance. Low budget movies didn't make it to the screens. It's not on Tubi. Let me find out. Erica's a Tubi star. Not knowingly. Okay. All right. That's good. So some people have worn a mask to hide who they are, maybe to get where they want to go. It doesn't always mean a bad thing. Sometimes people do wear a mask and they have malicious intent. Robin says, sometimes when I don't want people to know who I am, I put on a mask. Okay, Robin, you famous. Starnish says, some people wear masks to hide their true feelings, like hurt or deceit. That's another area. I've worn a mask. I acted like, you ever somebody did something to you, just act like you don't care. I don't care. I'm fine. You ever get into an argument with your boyfriend and he asks you, or your husband, he asks you, what's wrong? Nothing. And you're waiting for like him to ask you the sixth time, and at the sixth time you're gonna tell him what's wrong. Sometimes people wear a mask from letting people come close to. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So see, a mask is not necessarily always malicious intent. Some people wear a mask for protection, but what I've found that some people find it hard to stand on or make decisions because they don't know who they are. So it's important for us to know who we are. Can somebody put in the chat, you cannot fix what you don't face? Shamaria says some people wear masks due to fear. KB says some people wear masks to hide their pain. Yes. So if you guys can just put in the chat for me, please. You cannot fix what you don't face. Erica says, sometimes I will wear a mask and my smile, even if I'm breaking or hurting inside. Some don't know. Yes, I know a lot of mothers have to hide from their children. When I say hide from the children, they don't necessarily want their children to know the struggles that they're facing. They don't want their children to know that they don't have money for this or that. So that can be wearing a mask. It's not always a bad thing. But yes, you cannot fix what you don't face. I just want to see a couple more people, and then we're going to move on to number 2. You cannot fix what you don't face. If I could see like 2 more people, and then I'll move on. You cannot fix what you don't face. Yes. So number 2 is break up your will. Now this is hard because we all have our own wants, needs, hopes, and desires, right? So the book says, give up everything you are to the Lord. And the book lists the scripture, 1 John 2:17, and says, and the world is passing away, and the lust of it. But he who does the will of God abides forever. Right? Say number 2 again, prophetess. Break up your will. That's number 2. So we have make up your mind, number 1. Number 2 is break up your will. Yes, you guys are still saying it with me. You cannot fix what you don't face. It's big. It sounds light, but that's very big. You cannot fix what you don't face. Yes, so break up your will. So it's not only important to break up our will, but it is beneficial to submit and surrender to God's will. Now, surrender usually has a negative connotation. I'm not the biggest fan of the word submit, if I be honest. But when it comes to God, this is one of the few areas where submitting and surrender is a guaranteed win, right? You submit to God or surrender to God's will, you can't lose, right? It's like an immediate victory. So this big yet small choice to break up your will and give God complete control, to submit and to surrender to God's will, is one victory that is only going to lead to other victories, right? Right? So now we started with making a choice. We picked a side, which is God's side, right? Doesn't that make sense? Prophetess says a will is a legal binding agreement, so we have to submit to the will of God. It is the deed to our inheritance, and while we submit, we shall be victorious. Yes. So it's an immediate victory when we submit, surrender to God. That is one of the only areas, or the few, I don't want to say only, where you submit and you surrender, and there's no negative pushback to that. If you submit and surrender to people, people will fail you, right? But God, we know he can't fail us. If you submit or surrender to people, sometimes people can take advantage when you submit to them, when you surrender to them, when you relinquish control to people. Some people will mishandle you. Now, when we're following our own will, how about this? Sometimes we mishandle ourselves. How many of us have mishandled ourselves? Have you ever mishandled yourself? Have you ever didn't take care of yourself? You mistreated yourself. Staying in that relationship, you mistreated yourself. Going back to a relationship, you mistreated yourself. Or maybe not eating the best, you're mistreating yourself. Not taking the best care of yourself, that's mistreating yourself. Prophetess says, me.com. I think we all have mistreated ourselves in some way, shape, or form, right? See, I love it. You guys, this is just a truthful morning. I love it. Helen says, amen. And we cannot conquer what we are not willing to correct. Yes. Alicia says, many times. Shamaria says, yes, so true, I have. Starnish says, me. Me too. Absolutely. I've mistreated myself, right? Putting certain things in our bodies. That's mistreating ourselves, right? So how amazing is it that we'll mistreat ourselves? If we mistreat ourselves and we're in our heads 24/7, right? We are walking around with ourselves all day. I'm not talking about first person, second person, third person, but it's just ironic and amazing to me how we will mistreat ourselves. So it's allowing other people to mistreat us. That's one thing, but we mistreat ourselves. But surrendering and submitting to God is the only place, I want to say, where you can guarantee you will guarantee that the outcome will not be used against you. You will not be mistreated. You will not be used. You will not be taken advantage of. You will not be unappreciated. Those are all guaranteed with God. So how amazing is that, right? That's amazing, right? So that is breaking up your will. You turn over everything you have to God. Your desires do not trump what God's plans for you are. Now, you can have desires, but it's important to accept when they don't align with what God has for you. You have to be able to roll with that. You have to be able to accept that and move on when it doesn't feel good, when we don't like it, all of that. All right, so we have make up your mind, number 1. Number 2, break up your will. And now we're at number 3. This is the tough one. This is take up your cross. Number 3, take up your cross. Dr. Ford says, I realize that I cannot self-sacrifice myself anymore. Yes, that is big. People who are like people pleasers, just too self-sacrificial. I just feel bad for people like that, because with that, they struggle with boundaries sometimes. Some people just want to help, want to fix, and you kind of overdo it. I feel like, especially women, Black women, there's a balance of being selfish and selfless. Once you find that balance, you'll be good to go. So yes, number 3, take up your cross. So this is the part that we don't like, right? This is the struggle. This is the struggle. This is the process. This is the pressing. This is the part that we don't like. So after you've made your mind up, you've made the choice. So now you're in the choice. You're in the aftermath of the choice, be it good, be it bad. The cross is heavy, prophetess says. Yes. So take up your cross. Luke 2:33 says, and he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. So we're on this timeline. We're deciding on our choice. We made the choice to follow God's will over our own, and now we're taking up our cross. We're in the process. Sometimes the process is ugly, right? Sometimes it doesn't feel good. Sometimes you look at God and like, God, what's up? Where you at? Like, sometimes I'm not gonna lie. I have the utmost respect for God, but I'm like, all right, God, like, what's up? I've been waiting. I've been doing this. I've been not doing that. Like, can we speed this up a little bit, God, please? Like, can we speed this up, please? Right? We start throwing up stuff in God's face that we did. We start throwing up things in God's face. You ever did that? God, I did this. I did that. I did this. It's like, okay, that's not in comparison to what he did for us, right? Prophet says the cross comes with making a choice, relinquishing our will, and now we have to take up what has been given to us, the cross. The cross is our assignment. You too, Erica. Yeah, I be getting a little beside myself sometimes. I don't know. I don't be knowing who I be thinking I am sometimes. And I'm not even disrespectful with it, but sometimes I realize when I be talking to God, it'd be like the nerve. I be having the audacity sometimes. Right? So this one is difficult because taking up your cross is difficult because nobody enjoys pain. Nobody enjoys struggle. Nobody enjoys grief. One thing that I can't take being in life, and I'm talking especially emotionally, I cannot take being confused. Now, I can deal with pain. I can even deal with struggle. I can deal with sadness. I can deal with betrayal. I can deal with a lot of things. But that state of uncertainty, that state of confusion where I stand, I can't deal with that. That is just, I can't deal with it. So that's why when someone has me confused or a situation has me confused, I have to do my best to remove myself or remove whatever that is, because confusion just does not work for me. Now, some people are different. Some people can be content in confusion, but they don't like other things. Me, I cannot be confused. So, taking up our cross, right? I always say overcoming pain, overcoming whatever you're going through. So that's going from victim to survivor. I think that separates the boys from the men and the girls from the women. A lot of people, there's a movie Paid in Full, and Cameron said, he said, you tough though, right? You tough though, right? So a lot of people think they're tough until it's time to overcome something, right? And some people who are actual victims, so it's not to make light of anybody that has been a victim in a situation, but you just cannot stay there. You cannot stay a victim. You cannot stay in victimhood. You have to become a survivor after a while. Now, your timeline and your process is yours and God's, but you have to become a survivor, right? Yes, Starnish says the hardest part is taking up the cross. Not just taking it up, but carrying it. Because picking it up and then carrying it, moving with it throughout life, that's where it gets difficult, right? And with the cross, sometimes you can't, some people distract, but you can't necessarily pick it up and put it down. When it's on your back, it's on your back. Bonnie says, when a person shows me who they are, I now believe them. Yes, and push back. Yes. So it's important with the cross. I'll leave you with this, with taking up your cross. You have to push through because you have to survive the struggle. You have to press through the pain. You have to have grace through the grief. You have to find peace through the process. You have to press through the process. And what I've learned to be content and comfortable in confusion, and not because you're in the confusion, but because you trust that God will one day bring you out of it. All right, so I'll say that again. You have to survive your struggle, press through pain, grace through grief, find peace and press through the process, and be content and sometimes comfortable in confusion. Not because we've accepted the defeat, but because we're trusting that God will lead us through. Yes, Dr. Ford, the weight gets too heavy. It's too heavy sometimes. Sometimes I want somebody to come help me out. People always saying, "Oh, Octavia, you're the curse breaker. You're a generational curse breaker." I'm like, I got 60 cousins. Why did it have to be me? Why did I have to go through all of this, right? It's so many of them. Why does it have to be me, right? So we're going to press through the pain, grace through grief, press and find peace through the process, be content and comfortable in confusion, survive the struggle, not because we like it, but because we are trusting God to lead us to and through our victory, right? That's what we're doing there, right? So the last one we have, let's see what you guys are saying before I go through something else to the last one, number 4. So divine assistance is provided. Simon of Cyrene helped Jesus carry his cross. He is always with us. He's only a call away. Thank you, Helen. I did not know his name, but I know somebody helped Jesus out. Yes, thank you. D'Angela says growth and maturity comes through pressing through. Yes, D'Angela, that goes back to what I said earlier about the muscles, right? You have to be damaged sometimes to be repaired. You have to be broken apart and broken down sometimes to be lifted up. Dr. Ford says you have to know that God will help you to carry the weight. Alicia says yes, and learn the lessons through it all. D'Angela says God mighty say what not you because he considered you. Okay, can you say that again for me, D'Angela? I don't want to mess up your words. All right, so you guys with me with the timeline? We got make up your mind, which is 1, before we go to number 4. We have 2, break up your will. 3, take up your cross. And I will say this one is the most, to me, the most vital part. This is the 4 steps of walking in your victory, living in your victory. Anybody know what it is? No? Okay, I'm going to tell you. So number 4, you have to wake up your faith. That's number 4. Can you guys type that in there for me? Wake up your faith. And I'm almost done. Wake up your faith. So we have make up your mind. That's number 1. It's make up your mind. Number 2 is break up your will. Number 3 is take up your cross. And the last one is to wake up your faith. That's number 4. So you see that timeline? We made a choice to relinquish control and turn our will over to God. So now we're going through the process. We're taking up the cross. And in order to survive this, to make it to victory, We have to have what? We have to have faith. Now, what is faith? First, Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So we have to talk about the difference between faith and hope, because there is a difference. So faith is the belief or expectancy of an outcome without any evidence of it. Faith is the belief or expectancy of an outcome without any evidence of it. Does that make sense to you guys? There's no evidence. You just believe it's going to happen. You believe God's going to do it. And there's no evidence. There's no evidence. So you believe God is going to pay the rent, have the rent paid. You're going to have finances, but you look in your account and it's in the negatives, right? You believe God for healing, but the doctor is telling you a complete different story. You're in the midst of pain and confusion and all of that negative stuff, but you have faith that one day you're going to wake up and it won't hurt this much. It won't be this bad, right? That's what faith is. There's no evidence that this is going to work out, but you have the faith that it's going to work out. You believe, you know, you're expecting it to work out without any evidence of it. Now, what's the difference between faith and hope? Hope is just wishful thinking. You hope, oh, I hope I'll get win $1 million. I hope I'll be rich. Faith is, I know I'm going to be rich. I don't know how God is going to do it, but I know he's going to do it. Hope is just, you just wishful thinking. You just, this might happen. Not that you know it's going to happen. Not even that you think that it is going to happen. Hope is just, you're just wishing something will happen. You're wishing on the outcome. You don't believe it's guaranteed. Faith isn't wishful. Faith is known. You know this. You know it's going to happen. Can somebody say, faith is fact? Can you guys put that in the chat before I close this out? Faith is facts. Faith is fact. So it's not wishful thinking. Hope is just wishful thinking. Hope, yes, can be words to encourage us. But still, with the words to encourage us, D'Angelo, it's just wishful. It's just like in the air. Faith is more so something's in the air and we know it's going to land somewhere. Hope, you just throwing it in the air. Faith is facts. Faith is fact. We know God is going to work it out. We don't know how. We don't know outside of him who. We don't know when. We don't know where. We don't even know why. Outside of that's his promise to us, right? It's facts. Yes, faith is fact. Just want to see a few more people say that because I want you guys to believe it also. Faith is fact. Now, if you put your faith in people, places, things, it's fiction. It's not guaranteed, right? Faith in God is guaranteed. And if we put faith in God and it doesn't necessarily have the outcome that we hope for, we can still have a guarantee that whatever the outcome he has is better and greater than what we even hope for. Isn't that great? It's better than what we hope for. So you can't really lose. It doesn't necessarily feel good when you don't get what you want. But sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, you have to be able to stand on the fact that whatever God has for us is guaranteed to be better, greater, stronger, more right for us than what we ever could have imagined, right? Right? Yes, faith is facts. Hope is it's not a guarantee. Hope is like wishy-washy. Hope is just up in the air. We don't really know for sure what's going to happen with hope. So I rather faith than hope. Robin says 4 steps to help you walk closer to God. Yes, I'll repeat the 4 steps. So make up your mind, pick a side and stay there. Thank you, Robin. 2, break up your will, submit and surrender to God's will. 3, take up your cross, push through and fulfill your assignment. Number 4, wake up your faith. You have to believe that it is already done. Yes, thank you, Robin. And Robin, I got your poem. It was so beautiful. Thank you so much. Aisha sent it to me. It was beautiful. Thank you so much. D'Angela says that's true. So yes, faith in people, places, and things It's fiction. It's not guaranteed. How many of you have been promised something by someone and it didn't happen? I know I have. Empty promises. People made promises. Sometimes we even made promises, and for whatever reason, we weren't able to fulfill them. D'Angela says she has. I have also. I have, for sure. Alicia, I have. Erica, you have? Yes, I have too. For sure. For sure. Shamaria, you have? Yes. People have made empty promises to us, and sometimes, even if it wasn't our intent, we haven't been able to fulfill promises to ourselves, not even other people. I would say I'm for the most part, I've made promises to other people and I kept them. But it goes back to earlier me saying we sometimes mistreat ourselves. Sometimes we don't keep promises to ourselves. Isn't that different? Isn't that frustrating? But with God, we put our faith in God. The promise is guaranteed. And when I say guaranteed, if it's not what you wanted, you can guarantee at least that it's something better for you, even when you don't see it, right? See, isn't that interesting? So I'm just gonna close it up again just to break in the timeline. So you faced with a battle, a situation, whatever the case may be, or just navigating through life, right? So you make a choice, you pick a side and you stay there. Then you accept the journey no matter what it entails. You turn your will over to God, right? Now you have faith now through the process and through the fight until we're able to reach the victory. So I'll read again what Robin had. She summed it up for me. And this is the 4 steps, right? This is the 4 steps. All right. So 4 steps to help you walk closer to God. 4 steps to help you walk or live in your victory. Number 1, you make up your mind. So you pick a side and you stay there. And remember, it's peace in making the choice. If you have to regroup and re-strategize, so be it. But you have to start with making the choice. And with making a choice to stay with God, that's one choice that you would never have to worry about remaking, re-strategizing, or regrouping. Because what? Faith is fact. And putting our trust in God is just guaranteed. So you make up your mind, you pick a side and stay there. You break up your will. That's number 2. So that is submitting your will and knowing that God's will trumps your will. Number 3, you take up your cross. So you push through and fulfill your assignment. And number 4, you wake up your faith. You have to believe that it is already done. Okay. Thank you guys so much for staying with me this morning. For sure, I appreciate it. You guys have been very interactive. The ways to sow are at the bottom. We're going to be sowing seeds of 5. If you guys can sow seeds of 5. Prophetess says, you are an excellent communicator and teaching us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Prophetess. I hope I was a blessing to you folks. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Robin. So remember, guys, faith is fact. God is guaranteed. So the ways to sow are at the bottom. If you guys can just please sow seeds of 5. You see that there. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Alicia. So I'll wait a few more minutes to make sure you guys are able to sow. Thank you, April. Yes, D'Angela, God has definitely blessed us. We made it through the technical difficulties. Prophet says practical tools that are simple and clear for us to follow for successful victories. Thank you, sister. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, D'Angela. All right. That you speaking in tongues, prophetess. I'm not even going to read that because, I'm not trying to start nothing. So thank you. She said I did that. I'm not even going to speak in tongues. I'm not ready for all that just yet. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you for getting up. Thank you all for being up. Join us tomorrow. We will be back again for day 30. It is a total of 52 days. Thank you, Prophetess, for giving me the opportunity to speak to the people, and everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Erica, don't laugh at her. Prophetess. All right. We good, Prophetess, now? I'm going to close us on out, okay? Thank you, Robin.